Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second semifinal here at the AVGL Collegiate Smite League. My name is J Mac Tucker. With me, Fuzzy Wuzzy, and we're bringing you guys Georgia Tech and Arizona State University here in this best of 5 matchup, Fuzzy.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun matchup to watch. I can't wait to see who's going to go on to the final for next week. I'm really looking forward to see Unscathed play Scylla. Hoping we get the chance to see that, because Unscathed on the Monster is just absolutely disgusting. We saw lots of Unscathed playing Scylla in the early rounds, so I'm really hoping that we actually get to see that pull out.
It's kind of one of his premier go-tos. It's usually between the Scylla or the Hell he sometimes like to pull out, and occasionally the Kukulkan if everything else is taken away from him. And I like the adaptation they made. Usually, Hun Batz is kind of the problematic character against Unscathed Scylla, and so they've locked it in for themselves to keep it away. But I hope you're ready for some fun names today, Fuzzy.
Yeah, the West Village, West Village, and Wet Village. That's gonna be. Can I just say that the Coneheads? Because it looks like the Coneheads are about to come in right now. And look, I'm going on Vanit as Vanit's able just to dash away. But yeah, it just looks like the. What's interesting though is the Zeus pick. I kind of like that the Zeus pick is happening right now with the Ganesha and the Ravana for that lockdown potential, just keeping everybody inside of the Dharmic pillars. But everybody on the side of Arizona State have a lot of escape that doesn't really get affected by the pillars. So it'll be interesting to see what they do and how they set everything up.
So one thing to note for those of you who are tuning in tonight, we are unfortunately, due to time constraints, unable to bring you guys the picks and bans for these games. But we do have the bans up top. So you can see Freya, Yorm, and Amma taken off the table, as well as Cuckoo and Merlin. So those are the couple of shots at Unscathed. Must not have had those ready. And over onto the flip side, you saw bans. Standard, nothing really out of the ordinary. Thor, Isis, Susano, King Arthur, and Tyr. We see Vanit, though, trying to get a red buff steal here. Wet Village is trying to get this one secured, and they will.
Yeah, Wet Village able to secure it, as well as West Village picking up the level 2 from just helping out the speed buff and then going straight to that red. So it was a really good call from the Zeus right there to go ahead and do this, as looks like Venetia's going to go ahead and help out Unscathed, get this red buff right here. Maybe some fight over the left mid camps, but it looks like that the might just rotate over, but they're going to go ahead and take the safe route, which I think is the better call right.
Yeah, a good safe option from them, making sure that they don't get caught out. Zeus and Ganesha at level 2 are a pretty dangerous combination, especially because that Chain Lightning, if it catches either of them out. Now, Vanit would be able to Deathbane as far away as he could. Unscathed, I don't think, has that Sentinel just yet, but going into 2v2 against a Zeus early, especially powered up by that Turn of Fate on Ganesh, would just spell disaster for anyone caught out.
It really would. At that 3 as well, he's going to have that wonderful detonate, and the detonate doing so much damage in that early game that, you know, Scylla not having a whole lot of health is going to have a little bit of an issue, as CMT is going to come over and try to throw out the monkey to see if he could steal those oracles, but unfortunately that, as it does look like that for rotation, possibly looking for the purple buff that's not there. Shield's going to go ahead and get thrown out for the Chain Lightning, but if we look over at West Village on the Robin right now, he looks like he's ready for a gank right now at the Cheese. The dash comes out for Chiron as he's going to hit a couple of autos. The blink coming out. The stun not going to hit, but Mongoloid Hunter will get the auto. First blood. Going to Mongoloid Hunter on the Chiron, which very interesting pick in that Chiron versus Jing Wei. Can you tell us a little about that?
So the Chiron and the Jingwei's matchup with the knockback on the giddy up, Jingwei would be able to dash away from that one, but typically not something that you see too early. That would be a big setup for, and opting not to use the purification beads, even though he saw them get really aggressive at the tower line. Very curious as to why she decided to hold on to that relic. You surely would have been able to get away from that, but Mongol Hunter with the big final auto to make sure he can squeeze that next to the tower gets first blood for Georgia Tech.
And we can't go completely unnoticed with West Village. That blink with that the root happens is West Village is going to pick up Vanit on the mid camps right there. West Village is now just all over this map. At this point, only being level
3 on this Robin. He has access to all of his abilities if he so wishes, but sometimes you see him skip that overhead kick for another level in Prana Onslaught. It does quite a bit of damage on such a low cooldown. This is why Robin is seen as such an early game powerhouse jungle, because with low cooldowns and high base damage through, Flozart's got to be careful. He's going to get rooted out on the top-hand side. Body block to Oblivion.
Unbelievable. Zexy and Weiss just making sure that he cannot move. Flozart just CC'd into Oblivion, as now Zexy is going to have that execute right there for the Achilles. So that's got to be a little bit of a warning for Flozart, and also for anybody who wants to come over, because now not only does he have the good escape, but he's got the execute range to be able just to snowball and be really far ahead. So this is going to be a little bit interesting. Jory kills almost 1,000 gold lead. It looks like we have about 800, as a rotation does look like it's coming on to Mongoloid Hunter. Mongoloid not really seeing it, as the jump's going to happen. Cobra's Kiss is going to land as the dash is going to happen, but he's just going to giddy up. The blink coming out, the slow coming out from CMT, the monkey coming out overhead, but not going to be enough damage because the Chiron passive is going to be able to heal him up. that was a lot burned right there for not a lot from Mongol Hunter, as he still got his beads and was just able to walk away.
Had no fear and great patience from Mongol Hunter, understanding how much damage and recognizing that the enemy jungler didn't have their ultimate just yet. So he had no fear of his purification beads being at risk. At worst case, he could have ulted to maybe try and get some damage if CMT decided to keep going under that tower. But great patient play by the Hunter over here on Georgia Tech. Mongol Hunter has been a long-time staple of the AVGL and the collegiate scene. Not surprised to see the amount of patience and really hard work that he's put in to get his team up to this semifinal match.
You're absolutely right there. As a big dash coming in from West Village, as the Blink's going to come in from Raba. The ultimate from Zeus is going to happen as the detonate's going to hit West Village, picking up Benit in the mid lane. And now they're going to look to invade on this red buff, but if we look on the left-hand side, Cheese is looking a little bit weak. One auto, couple autos will do it. He's going to go into the Centurion, and he's going to pick it up. Mongol Hunter picking it up, but all the way on the other side of the map, West Village is actually going to pick up unscathed. That is now 6-0 for Georgia Tech. What is happening? It's almost a 2,300 gold lead at this point, and now they're looking to invade, and everything's just unraveling for Arizona.
And this is the kind of play that Georgia Tech has to have against Arizona. Going to get the knockup from the dash onto Benit. But more than anything, this is how you have to play against Arizona. You have to gas pedal this team. Don't let them get to that late game farm. Don't let them get comfortable at all. You have a Scylla way late game. You have a support Circuit. Takes a little bit early game to get some going. Once he got an item or two, can really be a force to be reckoned with. Purification beads out of Weiss in the knockup. Out of Wet. We'll make sure that West Village gets out.
Yeah, that was just a good call right there. The I'm a Monster just getting off, but look at Weiss Village wrapping around right here. He does have everything, but he is going to miss the roots. But he still can do a lot of damage right now, but it does look like that he's just going to disengage. The Chain Lightning's going to come off. CMT is looking a little low as West Village is going to get it with the detonate. CMT is falling under the tier 1 tower. Now, it's 7-0. You're 3k up at this point. Do you look for an early Gold Fury, or do you kind of just wait a little bit, play a little bit more patient, try to get some more farm? What is the call right now?
I think with the Zeus, you definitely can go for an early Gold Fury, especially knowing that the Scylla ultimate is down. It would only be really cheese to make any kind of big damage number come over this way. But another gank on a Flozar, quick, Lord of the Afterlife, gets him under tower. But this is the power of Zeus. Nobody really sees this god anymore. And even though they changed the delay on when Detonate goes off, it's still doing the same amount of damage. It's still hitting hard. And Zeus is one of those gods, you're not leveling up your clear. You're leveling up your poke ability.
Goodbye, Benit. As you were saying, you level up your poke. He gets poked out of existence as Mystic Rush is going to go ahead and be used right now. Waste Village is going to be on CMT on the Hunbat. The leap is down. The Crush coming over. The overhead kick to try to get the Fear No Evil out, and it works perfectly. Waste Village is now joined by West Village as the root will come out, but not going to do too much as CMT is trying to back away as much as possible, but lurking around the corner is Zeus, the big bad himself, as they're just going to go ahead, clear this red buff, and oh, well, West Village is saying, no, I'm going to throw up my shield as the Cobra Kiss is going to come out. Chain Lightning as well. Benit is going to go ahead and ult him under the tower as one shot will hit. The shell is going to pop, but look at the blink coming out from CMT as the Ohm is going to happen. CMT is going to pick up West Village. A big pickup right there for Arizona Zate. And now they can look to snowball a little bit, try to see if they can get something in their back camps. But as I say back camps, West Village, or West Village, wow, these names are going to be awful. West go ahead and get the back camps on the solo lane side. So now Arizona just can't get anything from that kill, even though it was a big kill on the Zeus.
And that's really the big play that's coming out of them, is they're such seasoned players. And a lot of these, despite the silly names, this is kind of where the origin of these players has come through. They've stuck around so long that they're willing to name each other after each other, basically. They're saying, okay, you know, we got one village. Well, what about two villages? And then this season, we had a third one. I wouldn't be surprised to see next season if we saw one final village come out of here, a fourth one, because I doubt Mongol is changing his name anytime soon. That would just be absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, you'd be absolutely right. It would be really interesting to see if we can get a fourth village out, because then we could just call them the YMCA squad, right? As Mongol's going to go ahead and solo Cheese in that dual lane side. The Crush is going to happen, but the overhead kick, they're looking to aggress on this. West Village is going to go ahead and hit the root as the Fear No Evil is going to come out. Beats from West Village is going to happen. The Dharmic Pillars are out. CMT is stunned under those pillars. The Crush is going to come out. The leap happening. I'm a Monster going to come over, but the Mystic Rush is going to miss it. Is actually going to hit. Mongol Hunter is going to come in and get a double kill. And now this is going to be an early aggression. They can look for a Gold Fury because that's 3-0.
Perfect timing out of West Village to hold that Mystic Rush until the last second, going right over that I'm a Monster, but Vanit's in the area. She's on the way as well. Lincoln from Vanit, he's going to get the double Cobra's Kiss, but the Lightning Storm has been dropped down on top, and a quick death onto Vanit. Thanks to the power of, well, being so dang healthy, this Ganesh is not going to worry about the poison damage out of the last breath, and a Gold Fury only at 9.5 minutes going the way of Georgia Tech. Big, massive early lead coming out of them, nearly 6,000 to start it out.
Absolutely great mechanical play from Georgia Tech, and now it's a 6,000 gold lead. But take a look at, when you said tanky, look at Zeus. Zeus has the reinforced Greaves online instead of any pen down or cooldown. Is there any particular reason why, as we watch the solo laners kind of bop it out?
It's mostly just because of Zeus's high base numbers. He has decent scaling and good base numbers, a great mix for a mage. As you can see, that I'm a Monster jumped right over on the top. Mongo ended up picking that double kill onto there, but Zeus doesn't need a ton of damage, and the biggest thing against him is that he constantly is getting dove by 2-3 players. You get those tank boots, makes you a little bit healthier. You don't have to worry about as much. Zexy Zealot going the wrong way, and I don't think he's going to make it out of this one with no ult and no dashes left. A quick, swift death to him by CMT.
Yeah, Zexy was just out of position, unfortunately. But the Blinken on the backside right there, Flozar looks like he's going to go down. The pillar the back hit over the pillar backflip is going to try to do some damage. Just missed out, but the pill will be granted as CMT now used the leap, and he's going to just blow it up. CMT will get blown up himself by West Village, just throwing out the shield and the chain lightning. This is Georgia Tech's game to win right now. Over 6K gold up still, even with those shutdown golds coming out.
Very curious as to why Wet Village canceled his Ohm so early. That is quite a long charge of that ability, and surely if he would have held on to it, would have made sure that overhead smash didn't go through and would have walked out unscathed from that matchup. But canceling that early, giving a kill over to the Hoon bots, which, by the way, CMT is the only player with kills on his team, has a few deaths of his own as well. But having all your damage and all your gold onto this Hoon bots, who's still down at the moment, it's looking bad here for Arizona.
And the level leads are, as you were pointing out, are really kind of unfortunate. Ganesh has been a part of 8 of the 14 kills, bestowing at least 2 of them. So now his assist range is increasing even more, which causes more bestowed kills even more, and he's going to be able to farm more efficiently because of that assist range. And they're going to look for this possible invade on the red buff, as CMT is just half health immediately by West Village. The Ohm's going to go ahead and come out, as Mongol did drop that red buff. Cobra's Kiss is going to go onto West Village, but it's just going to be a disengage. No one really want to do anything after Mongol was able to secure that red buff. But, you know, that mid tower's looking pretty weak right now. I wouldn't be surprised if West Village goes around, tries to come in for a rotation to get this mid tower down.
Looks like it will fall here to West and Wet Village as they team up. Both of them level 11. Not often we see the support same level as the mid lane and the jungler use there, at least a level or 2 behind. And not only the mid lane tier 1, the right side tier 1, and 4 players from Georgia Tech here to grab Flowstar. The Dharmic Pillars dropped. That'll be a quick disengage from Georgia Tech as they get what they want. They get the tower. The Mongol might not be able to make it out of here. The last breath poison doesn't wear off in time for him. And pop goes the Weasel. Vanit finally puts himself on the board.
Yeah, but while that's happening, the Pyromancer is going to go ahead and get pulled for Georgia Tech. Zexy is going to be able to just try to zone out as much as possible as Georgia Tech secure the Pyromancer. And now they're going to go ahead and dash onto CMT. Luis Village is going to go ahead and backflip out of that as the Zeus ultimate is going to come out stunned out of existence. CMT is going to go ahead and he's one shot right now. Zexy's going to try to see if he can get something as the slow comes out. The blink, and Robin's going to go ahead and pick it up under the tier 2. As you said, got him. Flozar tried to protect his buddy over there, but couldn't do too much. Now it looks like they're gonna go ahead and just disengage. It looked like they might have started to pull for a Fire Giant, but instead they're gonna pull the other side of the Fire Giant, which is that totem. Georgia Tech just getting 25 more gold for the rest of the team, so end up being about 150 gold for everybody to make sure that's all taken care of. As West Village is overstaying his welcome a little bit, and Vanit tried to punish him for it.
Yeah, with Zexy in the wing, though, there's not too much to worry for this Robin. Did have overhead kick. While he didn't have Mystic Rush available, that overhead kick is enough to get him out of the Cobra's Kiss and away from the Circuit. So great play here by the jungler, keeping himself up 7,500 gold and experience in favor of Georgia Tech. It's starting to amount to an insurmountable lead for the side of Arizona as their mid laner takes another spill at the red buff. And again, this is what you do against the Scylla. You keep them under wings. You take their towers. You push them back to where they just can't get farmed. They can't get their buffs. And if you take a look, the Doom Orb had to be skipped. They just didn't have the gold to be able to afford this early of a Doom Orb. Wet Village now going to tank the tower from Mongol Hunter. The dash not going to hit, but the Turn of Fate is here. And with that Chain Lightning and the Detonate right on top to finish it, West Village puts a 6th kill under his belt.
Yeah, absolutely. That was just great team play from Georgia Tech, and what made it even better was the fact that as soon as they got that kill, they were pinging the Cirquette exactly where she was to make sure that they weren't going to be surprised by it. And they're just going to rotate onto this Primal Fury as the drops right there. As Vinit's going to go ahead and come over and just give a little last breath to Zexy as he's going to try to dash away, but the ultimate's going to come out. He's going to be able to get out of this right now. The combat dodge is helping as he's going to pop a pot. Trying to see if he can run away, but CMT's looking to come around. He's going to try to throw Head Monkey, but the Blink coming out is going to be able to get him out of it. Wet Village now is there to give him some peel in case something happens, but CMT tried to throw a little monkey on there.
Didn't quite find the target. Didn't quite find the target on that one. If he would have got him, I doubt it would have been a kill. The Ohm was still available for Wet. I doubt the autos would have been enough. Missing rush on the towers. The Crusher damage enough. It's not. I'm a monster not going to hit. And the Turn of Fate turns the kill to West Village's favor as he drops the Lightning Storm under the tower. And the Chain Lightning not going to land onto the Neat. Going to get ohmed out. He's going to leap away. But under the damage of the slow of the pillars, Weiss is able to catch up to him quick. Well, if he can hit a basic attack, that is, the Centaurus comes out. But Weiss says, thank you very much. I will take that one.
As the fight looks like it will look to continue a little bit on this left side as Cheese is going to have to dash away. Does look like they're going to try to siege this left tier 2 as the call right now, as Mongol is just absolutely destroying towers at this point. A full 2 levels up and 6-1 and 3 at 16 minutes in the game. The Cheese has just been shut down this entire game.
Not only Cheese, but Unscathed as well. 0-4 on the Scylla, and Zexy playing a little aggressive under this tower, but with level 17 Chiron to back him up, and West Village level 14 himself on this Ganesh. Using that Ohm constantly, we haven't mentioned it, but he's been using that Ohm a lot for those sickle crushes. CMT gonna go on to Mongol Hunter in the back, but Mongol gonna get a lucky bounce away from the Sacred Monkey. CMT just a little unfortunately off the mark onto that one. The knockup is good onto Zexy. He's trying to get out, the Everett Smash not enough, but the in-hand is.
They're going to look to continue this fight onto Wet Village. Wet Village is going to try to drop the pillars right now to try to get a slow. He's going to own to get the mitigations as Cheese is going to fall, get Wet Village, but Mongol is in the back. But West Village is just blowing up everybody with that Zeus ultimate. He's going to try to get the detonate on Unscathed, but Unscathed going to fall, get Mongol Hunter as West Village is going to get the triple kill right now. He's going to try to push this mid lane, but that was 3 kills for a Zeus, who is now a big damage dealer with that Spear of Desolation, and now he's looking to go into possibly a hide right as the Chain Lightning's going to come out and do a lot of damage on Vinit. But talk about this tanky Zeus build. It's almost like a bruiser build that seems to be working right now for Georgia Tech.
It's a throwback. I think it was season 3 super regional / placements to Worlds. We saw this strategy come back out. I believe Eager was the one who really popularized this one, bringing out this super tanky Zeus, giving it a lot of setup with something like a Sylvanas, making sure to always keep the mid laner protected and keep as much setup as possible to keep them locked down inside of the ultimate. And with the Ganesh, it's something similar. While you don't want to be inside the Dharmic Pillar, you definitely don't want to be in there with the Zeus, and trying to escape means, well, do you take the damage from the Pillar or do you take the damage from the Lightning Storm? And that's the big question mark that Arizona State has yet to answer.
And, you know, that's what we were talking about in the early game, just the lockdown potential from this Georgia Tech pick phase right now is just absolutely astonishing. Word to use. It does look like there's going to be a fight as Centron's going to be used, but only 2 as the marksman's not going to really do too much damage, but Mongol's looking to be a little bit of a fighter right now. He's, you know, level 18 along with his Zeus, who's level 18, but Zexy's just now caught out of position, but the root will miss, but the Cobra's Kiss does go ahead and hit as the last breath. But look at this big Zeus ultimate as it comes down, as he's West Village is going to go ahead and throw the detonate.
No.
Everybody is about 1 shot right there from CNT and Unscathed, but Neat is about half health. Now they can look for this Fire Giant if they want to, because all 5 people are up right now for Georgia Tech, and that's the ping that's happening.
A quarter second early on that detonate, and Unscathed would have died if he just held it for just a tad bit longer. But I guess Unscathed just not wanting to use his Aegis in that fight definitely would have made sure that he lived on that last one. But as they walked away, you saw the final Chain Lightning aura around him, much like you see here onto the Pyromancer. But with the Pyromancer now and the Fire Giant, Georgia Tech at only 19 minutes have built a commanding 18,000 gold lead.
At 18,000 gold, that's a lot of items that, you know, you wouldn't necessarily see on Arizona State. There are three items up right now on this squad, and it's just going to start snowballing right here. Unfortunately for Tech's going to try to, you know, keep this lead up. You know, this is Smite. We've seen people come back from a lot worse situations with these Phoenix defenses now, and you know, you can definitely try to see that, but the Oni Fury is up. You know, you possibly could look for that for Georgia Tech. But so if you're Georgia Tech right now, do you want to go ahead and siege that left side Phoenix, mid Phoenix, or do what Mongol's doing and go ahead and get that Oni Fury?
Honestly, I think they can just kind of split any of them that they want. All their minions are shoved all the way to the side of the map that they want them to be on, up on the upper end. So with this Oni Fury going down, that's going to provide a new wave of Oni minions to push down. They're a little bit tankier than normal minions, so they're going to be able to take a little bit more damage, but also they're going to deal a little bit more damage out. Not quite as strong as a Fire Giant minion. But pushing over to this left side, they're splitting 3-2, and I like this. They push, however, 4-1 over here on the side of Georgia Tech. Finally starting to make an adjustment to it as everyone's starting to scatter on the left side.
Zeus Ultimate's going to go ahead and go down as Zealot's going to go ahead and blink and stun under the Zeus Ultimate. The left Phoenix will go ahead and fall. West Village looking for the Chain Lightning, just stuck onto Vanit, so now they're going to go ahead and rotate onto this mid Phoenix. A couple of ultimates being used. The Dharmic Pillar is doing a lot of damage as Mongol Hunter's getting a lot of damage to take it to him, but West Village is going to go ahead and pick up one. West Village is in a weird little predicament right now going on to Flozart. The Chain Lightning will miss, but Vanit will go ahead and get stunned by West Village as West Village does pick up Flozart. West Village is going to go ahead and pick up CMT, and this could be the game right now. The Dharmic Pillar is doing a lot of damage. Hunter with a Centurion doing crazy so that everybody.
She's getting knocked up. Vanit trying to go in, but immediately evaporated. West Village drops him down, and one more makes an even 27 for the side of Georgia Tech. 68,000 gold to 46,000. Just an utter blowout here for the side of Georgia Tech as they maul the competition this game.
Absolutely. Georgia Tech just steamrolled everyone through. It just didn't seem like Arizona was really in the mindset for that game. They need to take a step back, you know, think about what worked and what didn't work as you know, Scylla unscathed got a little focused. You know, there's not much you can really do about it. That's the game plan. You focus Scylla, you focus Cheese, you can kind of somewhat be able to control the game because Arizona plays through them a lot, as we've seen. But Georgia Tech being able to do that onto Arizona and make sure that they shut down those two people, it's going to be kind of hard for Arizona to figure out what they can do next. So, J-Mac, what can next?
I think that Arizona needs to swap up their playstyle a little. They're playing too much late game and not focusing on something that's going to push them through the early game. Jingwei, late game. Scylla, late game. Hoonbot's somewhat going to help them through, and Osiris will be a beefy monster to deal with. But everything that they've really drafted screams, we're just waiting for like half an hour or so, and then we'll come back and fight. Georgia Tech with the early Zeus, the Robin, and the Achilles just screaming and slamming down the gas pedal this entire game. Arizona have to find some kind of adaptation in game number 2.
Absolutely. Well, we are going to take a little bit of a break, folks. We'll be back with you for game 2 for Georgia Tech and Arizona State.
Yeah, shoot. Yeah, shoot. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting shots. Didn't even get to cross. I'm moving too far. Getting lost.
Welcome back, everybody. Game 2, Georgia Tech versus Arizona State. We saw Georgia Tech really run away with it in Game 1. So now in Game 2, as we've stated earlier, due to time constraints, we're not going to be able to see the picks and bans, but we will show you the bans. Obviously, you will see the picks as well. But JMac, if you're Arizona State, you're playing on the back foot right now. What is the plan right now? Because obviously running through unscathed and running through cheese like they have been in the past just isn't going to be working out.
I think it's got to be a strategy switch up. They play too much on and too dependent on these late game carries like the Scylla, like the Jing Wei. I think if they focus themselves on something a little bit more mid game, something that can actually get that quick power swing, like we saw the Zeus only needed 3-4 items, and 2 of them weren't even really damage items before he was able to come online. I think that kind of adaptation from ASU is what's really necessary for them if they want to bring this in their favor in this game.
Absolutely. Yeah, they definitely need to start focusing on that mid game, as you were saying. Some of the things that I also saw is that it looked like that the rotations that were happening in the jungle weren't necessarily going in the favor of CMT. It seemed like it was more going in favor of the Ravana on Weast Village. So if you're CMT, what are some of the things that you can do to control your side of the jungle? Because it looked like that on that solo lane side, he just lost all control of that jungle.
I think CC is the big one. When you have a Robin versus a bots, they're both going to do a lot of damage early, but Robin with 2 forms of CC, if you don't have beads, you're going to get rooted in place. If you don't have that jump, you're kind of stuck. Where on the flip side, we typically always see the blink coming out of a Robin, but a big swing and adaptation here, or at least I should say with Pick style here comes through. Thanatos going to be into the jungle, and a Naja mid?
That is a Naja mid. You talk about a little change of strategy. Georgia Tech is just saying, we're going to change our strategy a little bit to make sure that we can lock down this Kukulkan, because unscathed, Kukulkan's one of his gods. Everybody kind of knows this. Vanit is going to go ahead and look for this invade, but Wet Village figured it out, and look at the damage that Vanit just did. Weast Village just said, I'm going to throw a scythe at you and do half your damage. As the blink's going to come out, Vanit's kind of in trouble because his dash is already down. Wet Village is going to try to look for the stun. Just a couple of autos to try to get everything. That Scythe, though, just doing so much damage as he's going to go in, as Weast Village is going to get first blood on Vanit trying to invade. This is the heads-up play that Georgia Tech has been showing Game 1. Now it's Game 2, and they're even more doing it, as West Village just cleared the mid wave so fast that he's able to go ahead and grab the red buff, and now he's going to be a little bit ahead of Unscathed.
Welcome to the answer to the Hercules invade. You just send both players at him. Ignore the buff. Who cares about the buff? You can get yourself a 450 gold bounty by getting that first blood. And what better gods to give it over to? This Thanatos getting the first kill on the board. Already has his boots fully online. Elected to skip that Assassin's Blessing. Thanks to Wet Village with that knockup. Making sure not to pull an ability out of the fountain. Waiting to see what he's going to need. The sash in onto Unscathed. With the dash in from the Mercury on CMT. He's going to go into the middle of the fray. It's 3v2.
As the Whirlwind's going to do a crazy amount of damage to West Village. West Village is going to be a little bit out as CMT is going to pick up West Village. That's huge for CMT. Mercury being such a late game carry can do a lot of stuff, but look who's here is Weast Village on the Thanatos. Death Scythe is going to go ahead and miss, but Vanit's in a little bit of a pickle right now along with CMT. The Silence will go ahead and come out, but the dash on the Mercury, look at both of them being weak right now. Vanit doing crazy amounts of damage as the Major Look It almost gets Wet Village. Again off the mark as Weast Village will fall to Vanit saying, I'm back. As Mongol Hunter is now here, he's going to go ahead and pick up CMT as the Whirlwind will fall again. West Village is now a little bit of in trouble as Vanit will pick up West Village. This team fight is going on forever as Unscathed picks up Monthul with that spit from the Kukulkan.
We talk about one invade going into a second one with that red buff. A lot of action going through. And a really late rotation on a Mongol coming through there. He was able to clear that wave, but it took so long to get to the lane, or to that red buff. I think that if he would have gotten there a few seconds earlier, could have made this a much cleaner kill. And West Village with the universal ring toss is going to pick up one. Tornado dropping down. That's going to make sure to get at least one. And the the dash out of the Mercury going to guarantee them back inside that tornado. And CMT able to help pick up a couple of kills for the mid laner.
This is looking a lot cleaner right now for Arizona State. They're up 6-4. on the kills wise. They're up 600 gold, which isn't really necessarily a lead, but it's something that they can hold on to, especially with CMT doing crazy amounts of damage to West Village, as the dash will happen, and he'll just go ahead and solo West Village on that Ganesha. Not using an Ohm, not using anything. CMT now level 4. Mercury level 4 is scary. Mercury level 5 gets scarier. And if Mercury level can get to level 20 first, it's going to be even deadly.
We didn't even mention this Jormungandr that made it through the picks and bans, but Zexy once again on the Achilles, going to be thrown towards the tower, but not take a tower shot, not even get close to falling inside there. A lot of pressure here on the Flows at the death side. Well off the mark by Weast. He's unable to confirm that kill. The CMT is looking for another big shot. He's looking for a grab if he can get it. Speaking of grabs, Vanit was looking one for himself. Knock up on Unscathed. Not going to follow up with anything.
Yeah, this aggression right now is exactly what Georgia Tech were wanting. They were wanting that mid-game aggression onto Kukulkan to lock him down. But now CMT is looking a little bit ahead. Is the dash going to go? He will take a tower shot, West Village. Who's going to go ahead and do that. But the stun coming out for Zexy. The blink coming in. Vanit's going to go ahead and get a couple autos in as Vanit's going to go ahead and pick up West Village in the back. Zexy's looking a little bit out of position right now because of Vanit getting the double kill. Thanks to a little help from the friend minions. So Flowzart now is level 5. Jormungandr level 5 into this Achilles. Now, Achilles is considered a counter to Jormungandr, so now Jormungandr is up ahead in gold. He's up ahead in levels now. As a Jormungandr, do you want to start rotating to these fights to help out Unscathed a little bit on this Kukulkan, or do you want to keep farming a little bit to try to keep the Achilles over there?
I think if there's a play beyond just the kill, such as a Gold Fury or something like that, then yes, a good early rotation would be nice, but it's still pretty early in the game. Flowzart doesn't even have his boots available for him yet. He hasn't gone back to base to grab that, where Zexy has bought a full Glad Shield for himself on the Achilles. Vanit playing a huge part in that role, making that rotation, making sure that he could cancel out Zexy's retreat, stopping him in his place all the way on the back end side. Great plays by Vanit. He had a little bit of a misstep early game, but so far he's been coming in big with these driving strikes. All right, well, I'm just going to cast his curse him on that one. not the best one out of him. He's not doing too good today.
But CMT will go ahead and dash onto West Village. They're trying to get a little bit of a pick right here onto this red buff invade. The CMT actually is going to go ahead and look at the Mongol, who's at half health. CMT is going to go ahead and wind up that ultimate, is going to go ahead and miss it, but the made you look off target as well. So Vanit is now in a little bit of a pickle. The driving strike pushing everybody out of the way of the Serpent of the Nine Whims. Vanit is now up in the air in the Naja ult. Windfire Wheel doing a lot of damage as Vanit will just go ahead and fall to that death site. Cheese taking a lot of damage from the Dharmic Pillars. The pushback is going to happen. Desert Fury is going to go ahead and get 1. Cheese will go ahead and get 2. Wet Village is all alone right now to CMT. CMT could look to try to kill the Ganesha again as it does fall. This is so much better from Arizona State. They're doing exactly what you wanted them to do, J-Mac.
And this is the adaptation that Arizona had to make from Game 1 to Game 2. They picked up Kukulkan, one of the best clearing gods in the entire game. I don't think anybody but maybe a Hades can outclear him in the early levels. Then they pick up Onher, notorious for his early game boxing prowess. And what do? They rotate over and they just start fighting. This is what Arizona has to do to get back at Georgia Tech for last game. And with 12 kills on the board, only 6 minutes for them, they're doing a damn good job of it.
Absolutely, and Cheese being able to get away from that, getting a double kill on that Gold Fury side right there. Now you're looking at Onher. Onher's a little bit of a deadly character when he's ahead. So if you're a Merlin, what do you do here? Do you concede a little bit more? Do you try not to rotate as much? Because Onher can do some damage in this early game, and Merlin's more of a mid to late game character.
One thing that the Merlin does have on the Onher is the escape option comparatively. So Onher, yes, he can go over the wall with his spurs. He can go a very long distance. The Merlin flicker is much, much faster than really any ability in the game. I think it is the fastest escape option. So if he can bait out that disperse, might be able to turn around and get some big damage off, whether he's an arcane stance or if he can get something in ice or fire. The blink pull from the Hercules onto West Village. He's taking a lot of damage, and Weast not going to make it out.
As the Serpent of the Nine Wind just barely off the target right there. The boulder will come out, but it is a baseball as West Village will pick up Unscathed. The Desert Fury picking up Mongol as the Impale is going to go ahead and be great right now. Vanit's going to go ahead and be here and say hi, friends. But Cheese, look at Cheese right now trying to focus on Wet Village instead of West Village, who is the carry right now, as Vanit will get the good pluck. The Impale just off the mark, but one auto would do it, but Wet Village clinching a little bit right there to make sure that he gets out behind that tower. Now they're going to go ahead and look for these oracles and possibly even an early Gold Fury, as that will not be the call.
No.
Looked like they were trying to go for it possibly, but I think they're worried about the Thanatos who's just showed up onto Vanille. So I think that's a good call, making sure that everything's good. And just make sure that you can farm up a little bit more. Keep snowballing this lead. This is now about a 3,500 gold lead right now for Arizona State. So, and Mercury has Rage built, J-Mac.
Oh,
Second
no.
item, Rage. So why is the Rage so important into the second slot right now?
Because of how aggressive they've been playing, how many kills they've gotten, he's going to be able to stack this in, honestly, probably 5 to 10 minutes. He'll have this item fully stacked up at 5, giving him the max crit value from it possible. And Mercury, when he gets those crits online, becomes the one-punch man himself. The old-school style build. I wouldn't be surprised to see an Erendite grabbed up by this assassin. And it made you look on the backside. CMT gonna pick up another.
There's that one stack that you said. So you said a 5 to 10 minutes he's going to load it up, but he's already looking for a second one. As West Village is going to go ahead and get pulled, the Dharma Pillar is going to fall. As West Village is going to go ahead and get the blink out, or excuse me, the beats out. The ult is going to go ahead and be used for the Najah. Look at that, West Village destroying CMT with that CC. As Vanite now is in a little bit of a pickle, but look at Unscathed, just making sure that he stays in the back right now. Great positioning. Vanite trying to help him to get out. So West Village was able to pick up CNT. Oh, but the blink coming out. Unscathed is going to go ahead and get ohmed. The Whirlwind is not going to do too much because it missed, but Vanite will go ahead and Driving Strike Pluck to get Weezed out of the fight. Unscathed now is coming out unscathed. This Mongol Hunter is going to solo cheese, everybody, over on that left-hand side. So now everybody's starting to fight a little bit more. This is what we're looking for in these games, as Zexy is going to go ahead and steal that blue buff away from Flozart, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it's not a death sentence for a Jormungandr.
Not too awful. He does have his autos for clear, but does use quite a bit of mana to go for those poking abilities. The big turnaround in that fight, and the reason that Arizona State didn't come out positive in it, is because of the mistiming on the Kukulkan ultimate out of Unscathed. Dropped it just a little bit too early, and the bounce was not quite there from West Village down on the bottom end of it. So with that mistiming, they weren't able to confirm the kill, and instead get turned around on. Flozart trying to get one here. Going to go up into the World Serpent. Looking for one hit is all he needs. But how many is he going to use trying to get into this tower? Only 2. And the third for escape.
As he's going to just run over to Vanite, who's been the peel master this game. Making sure that everybody's able to get out. CMT just clapping away, trying to just scare some people away from the ultimate. But Unscathed is starting just to become a Kukulkan at this point. He's got his Book of Thoth, he's got his cooldown boots ready to roll. Looks like he's going to go into a Polynomicon maybe, into that third slot, which would be really helpful. But a ward is placed right now as Unscathed walked over to go for these back camps. So Mongol Hunter knows that Vanite is a little bit by himself. But Mongol Hunter now sees that CMT walks over that ward and is now a little bit scared for himself. But he does go ahead and get those oracles, which is kind of big for Georgia when you're behind right now. You want to make sure you get the vision. As Windfire Wheel will come out, Vanite is now up in the air. 1, 2, 3. Dharma Pillar is going to come and execute. Wow. Weast Village, as the amount of damage that just came out from Unscathed is going to get a double kill. Right now, West Village is trying to run for his life right now. The Spit will land. One auto will do it, but the Whirlwind will go ahead and do it as a triple kill comes out for Unscathed. Sexy Zealot's now here. He's going to get the execute on one. Sexy Zealot will use the execute to try to get in better position. Cheese real going to be there as he's going to go ahead and get pinned into the wall. This could be an unofficial quadra, but Cheese will go ahead and pick it up. This could be a Gold Fury right here, but Unscathed doesn't have the mana, so he is going to have to back away a little bit because all he can do is just kind of auto.
And not just that, with Mongol Hunter here in that fire stance or even the ice, can easily steal that Gold Fury away from them. So unable to confirm anything off the back of that, but a lot of big kills on the side of Arizona. And 4 stacks now on that Rage for CMT. Big Kukulkan ultimate coming out of Unscathed this time around. After that Najah ult is done, the pillars are dropped and everyone groups up on top just to kill this one Hercules. Unscathed says, all right, everybody stand in a big old line for me. I'm going to fire my ult, take out 2, 1 with the tick from the tornado on the landing, and almost picks up a third one onto the Najah who got stuck under the tower. I believe that, oh, actually he did pick that one up himself, so unofficial triple for him.
What's even great though is that CMT was able to ult through that once Mest came down, as Mongol Hunter will fall to Cheese as a big fight was going to happen. World Serpent was used for this rotation. The blink and Vanite in the back as Vanite's going to go ahead and throw a boulder and say, take my rock, as he's rocking the socks off of Georgia Tech right now by himself. Vanite's just going to go ahead and look to farm look to poke a little bit, try to zone out for this Gold Fury pull that did happen as Arizona does get the Gold Fury. This is exactly what you were talking about. Get that early aggression as the ult from Mercury is going to go ahead and flow down as Flowzart will go ahead and pick up the kill on West Village.
No.
West Village is now a little bit of a pickle. 5-on-1 as West Village will fall to Vanit. Vanit and CMT are doing absolute work right now for Arizona. This is looking just the exact opposite of what we saw. Arizona playing on the back foot in game 1, and now they're saying, all right, we'll take the punch. Now we're going to throw a punch back at you as Pyromancer will now get pulled. Aggressive play call from Arizona.
Zexy is here. Gonna try and sneak himself around. Gonna get it knocked up. The Collegiate ultimate will be a little late for the secure, but they'll make sure that they get it. Thanatos ultimate in the back, but the Reap is not enough to get him. One more basic, however, will be as Weez picks up Cheese, trading out their solo laner for the carry.
As Weiss doesn't realize that 3 people are going to be around him. Now he's looking at a pickle, but that Death Scythe doing so much damage and so much healing. But here comes the dash from CMT. The Whirlwind will do so much tick damage. 1, 2, 3 will do it as CMT now has a fully stacked Rage at 13 minutes and 55 seconds into this game. The left side tower, though, for Arizona does fall. So Georgia Tech did get a little bit of something out of that, but you're 5K down right now. What does Georgia Tech need to do to go ahead and try to secure and try to just tighten up the screws a little bit on these team fights?
The big thing that they have to do is not try and be the primary engagers. They have a lot of great anti-initiation, also a lot of great backline harassment with the Thanatos, the Naja as well. So wait for them to be impatient on this Arizona State side. They've shown it in the past where they want that kill, so they're going to jump in and try and get something, but they falter for it. Georgia Tech can just hold on, get themselves 25 minutes in, get themselves a little bit more farm. Then they do have a strong anti-siege team. Merlin is one of the harder mages to fight into, similar to gods like Opwash and Kukulkan. Very dangerous to fight under Phoenixes to try and go into just because of how much area control that he has.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Patience is going to be a virtue for this game for Georgia Tech. So they need to calm down a little bit on the fighting side of it, but Georgia Tech is a very aggressive team. They have an aggressive team comp. You know, they were looking for those secure picks in that mid lane, but Vanit just kind of has been running this game along with CMT. Look at CMT and Vanit. CMT has 21 out of the 20. He's been a part of 21 out of the 27 kills for Arizona, and then 19 for Vanit. You have to say that Arizona now have complete control of the map, just like Georgia Tech did in that first game. So this is looking like almost like a reverse for Arizona, and they're trying to make sure that their name is known right now.
I'm pretty sure they've got the same amount of kills, but have died a few more times than the last one. Also, the game a little bit shorter. Charging up that Sonic Boom was CMT, looking for something here on the Zexy. Weiss looks like he was able to secure that blue buff for themselves. No, it looks like he did go over to the way of Flowzart. Waiting on that hovering death. They are going to go on to CMT. The boulder is going to be huge, and the Dharmic Pillars as well. It's the World Serpent comes out just to try and take down this jungler.
As CMT is going to go ahead and ult through to try to get to the fight, but missing some keen things. But Vinny's just going to go ahead and clean up this Thanatos. This Mongol is now here doing lots of damage to Flowzart. He's currently in the arcane stance, trying to look for something right now. Flowzart turning around, making sure that he sees the entire map. But Vanit wants to keep fighting this right now as the dash will go ahead and come through. Driving strike, but he's going to get pulled right back in as Merlin being able to control a little bit more in this arcane stance. Look who's coming, slithering in on the side right now, unscathed, making sure that he could try to get something. The Spit not being able to slow Wet Village right there, but the driving strike will go ahead and CC Wet Village onto that wall as Cheese will solo West Village into that left side. Oh, but the Serpent of the Nine wins just off the mark, but doesn't matter. Arizona will still get that tier 1 on the right side.
That tier 1 on the left side was taken during the engagement as well. Mongol making sure to trade out his life to grab that one, but now go over towards the red buff. Third item in now with the Spear of the Magus. He's going to have a lot of pen and be able to proc that very easily. A good little juke out there by Zexy not to get hit by that Zephyr or get by that Tornado, but they come through and the execute out of Weiss. He found him in the range.
That was unbelievable because he was in the range of the Achilles ult. But look at the damage coming out from Escape. The ping's coming out saying, please, Merlin, help us. As the dash comes in, the beads will be used from West Village. The amount of healing that Death Scythe is just doesn't matter as Mongol Hunter's now in a little bit of a predicament as Unscathed, coming out completely unscathed in these fights, is now got an unofficial triple kill on that. Now 4 deaths to 1. this is looking like a different Arizona State team. Blink coming out from West Village. The beat! A
great
perfect
beat.
landing from Unscathed! The Serpent of the Nine wins off the mark. However, the driving strike is not off as Unscathed will pick up West Village. And now they're going to look for this tier 2, possibly even a Fire Giant, but Pyromancer is about to spawn, so that might be the better call right now. Play a little bit safer, boys. Make sure that you can keep this 8K gold lead.
Huge misplay on a Mongol trying to go into that late in the fight. Should have just gone on retreat instead. I know that your teammate wants you to be there, but what are you going to do against somebody that powerful? The poly shots out of Unscathed. The most important thing when you pick up the poly on the Kukulkan is you got to be sure you can hit those basics after getting 2 kills with it in that fight. Chung for, I think, about 400 damage on that last one. Lots of power online for this Kukulkan.
You're absolutely right, but Vanit's now in a little bit of a pickle, but Vanit's so tanky, it doesn't even matter. 2 abilities used right there, and the mitigate wound's just going to be like, nah, I'm good. As Arizona does get the Pyromancer, and look at that, they're going to go ahead and get the Primal Fury, getting 7% more damage to jungle buffs, including, but not limited to, that Fire Giant over there on the right-hand side.
Big objective for the side of Arizona, and this is the early game fight that they needed. This is the kind of adjustment you have to make from game 1 into game number 2 is what went wrong. Okay, we never got to late game, so let's just draft something that's going to kill them in the early game. Let's just draft something where we're not going to die every 5 seconds to them. And what are they doing? They've only died 13 times now in this 19-minute game. That sounds like a lot, but when you look at the 34 on the flip side, it's not half bad.
It's not half bad, and look at that. CMT has got a Deathbringer at 19 minutes in the game as the dash and just complete damage from the Whirlwinds, just making sure it's crazy amounts of damage, but CMT will fall to Mongol Hunter in that fire stance. But everybody's kind of a little bit spread out right now. It's a 4-on-3. Mongol Hunter's a little bit out of position. The Pluck will hit, so will the Driving Strike. Mitigate wounds will be popped. And now everybody's turning on their attention on Mongol Hunter. Perfect Aegis right there from Mongol to make sure that he stays alive. Because Boulder does a lot of Boulder things, and Boulder hurts.
Boulder hurts a lot. I don't care who you are or what Hercules you're running. The Boulder swings. And that definitely would have taken out Mongol Hunter. No life still online for the Merlin means that he's not going to be healing anything. Typically, we see something like a Pythax piece picked up, but instead he's going for cooldown with that Chronos Pendant. 3, 5, and 1. I'd like to see what the player damage looks like on these gods, if possible. We do see 13,000 online for the Merlin, but almost 19k in Unscathed favor and 13 kills. Look at this. He's at 5 full items already.
Not only 5 full items, 2 of those are pen items with the Spear of the Magus and the Obsidian Shard. You know, we were talking about this earlier, J-Mac, with Obsidian Shard being so potent with these tanks because you can't really do too much damage when you don't have that Obsidian Shard to shred those protections. As a fight will happen, Vanit's going to go ahead and Driving Strike too. The Major Look being perfect, but the Blink Ultimate from Najah being even more perfect onto Cheese in the back as Zexy Sillet will fall Cheese. The Dharmic Pillars were going to go ahead and come out, but on the Serpent of the World Serpent will be used. The Mongol Hunter will just blow him up. Flozart will blow up West Village, and now Flozart's a little bit of a pickle, but Vanit is going to go ahead and try to get out of this. Mongol is going to go ahead and, you know, do a little bit of damage, but the mitigate wounds mitigated the damage, technically speaking, because the heal came up at the exact time. Better team fight for Georgia Tech. Now what are they going to do with this? They're going to get a tier 1, possibly even look for a tier 2, but with the amount of clear that, you know, Colling does, it's pretty crazy. But Vanit just got owned and CC'd out of existence. West Village picking it up with the ring bounce.
And that's why you can't walk into 4 players with 1 being a Ganesh. You have no abilities available to you. Ohm into the knockup, into a stun, into death on the side of the Arizona support. Vanit just making one little miscalculation there, and a big fight goes the way of Georgia Tech. That's going to level out the gold lead now to only 7,000 in Arizona's favor. A big swing for Georgia Tech to bring this one back. I believe they were down almost 10, 12,000 at one point.
Yeah, I think the gold lead was about 10,000, and now Georgia Tech is trying to say we are still here. They're clinging on to dear life with that gold lead because gold is the lifeblood of this game, folks. Without gold, you can't buy items. Without items, you can't do a lot of damage. Or tank a lot of damage, and necessarily depending on what role you go. So gold is very important here in this part of the game right now. Eventually, right now, as you can see, the 4-level difference in that Kukulkan is even going to be more deadly. As the Pillar CC just is absolutely crazy. CMT just hitting everything. But Unscathed not hitting that Serpent of the Nine Winds as the Dharmic Pillars will go ahead and be used. Cheese trying to get the Desert Fury to work. CMT looking to ult, but he's just going to ult right into a wall. Unfortunately, not really playing up to the mechanical prowess he's been playing this recently. West Village will go ahead and pick up one, but Mongol will pick up CNT in the back. He's in the flame stance, folks. He's just turning and burning on Unscathed. Unscathed is looking a little bit weak as Wet Village, the Ganesha will pick up Cheese, as Wet Village is now going to do crazy amounts of damage, but West Village will pick it up. And here's Mongol picking it up right now into the arcane stance right there to try to control a little bit. Vanit, the damage from Vanit is absolutely insane, but Flozart says it's my kill. As Flozart's trying to run away from Zexy, the Ohm being perfect to get Flozart to be out of that, as Zexy will go ahead and combat dodge that kill. Vanit now running for his dear life from these two.
The missed obstacle from Wet Village. We'll make sure that this Hercules gets to live to see another day. Not sure that that would have gotten a kill. Would have definitely helped out in pushing him even further. A great fight by Georgia Tech, extending it out, but a huge misplay on the side of Arizona State. They just let Mongol Hunter walk into the back of the team fight, and he went unchecked the entire time, unscathed, sitting back there calling for assistance as this enemy carry, this enemy mage is just sitting there torching him, and he can't do anything about it. In the next team fight, if Arizona wants to pull through on this, they've got to keep Mongol under wraps.
Not only keep Mongol under wraps, but take a look at the ward difference that we're seeing right now. They're now just setting up these wards around the Fire Giant to make sure everything's happening. But, you know, right now Arizona had that ward lead, but look at the Soul Lane, look at the Jormungandr. You know, these are things that you really can't necessarily have when you're 25 minutes in the game unless you're really good at predicting where everybody is. So keeping a tab on Mongol Hunter is exactly what Arizona needs to do, but they can't do it when your top wards is your jungler with only 8 wards, as the Gold Fury will go ahead and get pulled right now. West Village will go ahead and throw up Cheese, but he's going to come down, and Mongol Hunter will pick up Cheese. West Village is being body blocked by Zealot right now, as the Thanatos going to come ahead and go in. The Boulder being used, as well as the Serpent of the Nine Wind. West Village will pick up Unscathed, as Vanit now is in a little bit of a pickle, already using that Driving Strike. The penetration from the fire, and now he's going to get stunned, as Zexy is going to go ahead and pick up Vanit. But in the back, Flozart's going to go ahead and start spitting, but, you know, he's going to be done spitting as he's going to go into the World Serpent. Try to see if he can pick up Mongol Hunter into this, but CMT will fall to Mongol Hunter, as Flozart now is in a little bit of a pickle. As the stun comes out, Flames, goodbye Flozart, goodbye Tier 2. And that's a deicide for Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech coming in swinging that fight again. Mongol Hunter left unchecked in the back. They finally made some kind of answer to it, but it was so late in the fight that Unscathed, whipping that big ultimate, not getting any major damage. I think he bought Zexy in the back, who was already chasing out a super low health target.
Wait, do they have time?
I don't think they've got this. They've got 4 players. They're
going for it. The frenzy has been popped right now. Wet Village is taking the Titan. The Desert Fury is going to come up, but the Darman Pillars will fall. But look who's on the Darman Pillars is the Titan. West Village will go ahead and get Cheese. Unscathed is a little bit of a pickle, though, as the Blink from Vanit's going to come in. But look at the Thanatos of Vanit. The Boulder, he's going to swing and hit that one out of the park. Vanit with the great Titan defense right now. They were trying. You know, I gotta give props where props is at Georgia Tech. They tried for the end of that, but just not doing so much right there when the carries fall. But Vanit wants this. Vanit wants this bad.
Vanit is going for it. The dash in from CMT into the Zephyr, and the 289 poly shot out of the mid laner won't be enough to get the kill itself, but one more punch to the throat from CMT. He now picks up his 6th one of the game. It feels like he had so many more, but all of them have been going on to Unscathed. They've been feeding this Kukulkan as many kills as possible. Now with this 3rd book online, a little overzealous, I would say, on that Titan. They did have 4 versus 1, but with enough damage out of Desert Fury, they were able to push back the primary damage dealers. Not even that Dharmic Pillar was enough to shred through the extra protections and health from those 2 towers still standing.
You're absolutely right, but Georgia Tech, they're clawing their way back. And they're proving that they have fight in them in this game. This could be a very demoralizing loss for either team. As the Fire Giant, this is a risky pull right now. They're looking at West Village, the Thanatos, who can just do so much, as Thanatos will go up in the air. Frenzy pop, and Unscathed one-shots West Village right now, as now the World Serpent's going to go ahead and come up and try to go on the Mongol Hunter. 1, 2, missing all of it, but the 3rd one will hit. Mongol Hunter is now going to go ahead and pull, but the Darman Pillar is being used, and lots of damage coming up. Mongol Hunter being one-shot Vanit with the shell already been popped. Mongol Hunter the flicker away being perfect. West Village will pick up CMT with the Windfire Wheel.
Into the back goes Zexy, trying to get some damage onto Unscathed, but he's going to get pillared and impaled into the back line, and Scathe picks him up with the Zephyr Auto to finish that one off. A big fight in favor of Arizona. They get 4 players with the Fire Giant. Unfortunate that they lose CMT, one of their hard carries in this late game. But with that Fire Giant buff around their waist, they're looking pretty and poised to take game number 2.
They are looking fantastic. The ping coming out for this left tier 2, but they're realizing that they should push the minion wave up a little bit. But look at this. The minions are trying to get into the Titan right now. The Titan is at half health. They could look to be a little bit cheeky, and this could be a base race. The blink coming in from West Village. West Village is going to get that immunity frame from the Sash. Dharma Pillar's being used. Everybody is stuck into that area right now. Cheese will go ahead and jump, but West Village is not done fighting yet. The obstacle being used, but Mongol Hunters here not being checked again, as West Village will go ahead and go up on Cheese. Thanatos will fall into the back line and get Benit over there. Now Flozart's in a bad position. Excuse me, as he's going to try to just get away right now, but the Sash will come out, Flozart will fall, and this will be a push to the tier 2 on this left side, but look who's there. Zexy is already ready to roll. This Fire Giant buff that they had, gone. They are not looking pretty and poised there anymore. Arizona now playing on the back foot, something we haven't seen 27 minutes into this game.
Call it a bit of Caster's Curse. The mid lane Phoenix about to respawn 25 seconds until anybody is back up. A raw ultimate out of the Najah is going to set up for a ton of damage on the bottom. The flames are too powerful. Zexy's going to get the last hit with the ultimate, looking for damage onto Unscathed. That's going to proc out. Looked like purification beads, but I'm not sure that he needed them for that instance. And then he's going to go right to the Titan. Georgia Tech turning this one around and taking game 2.
They took game 2. That is classic. We have everything in our grasp and we can win from Arizona, and then the entire game just turning around. This was great teamwork from Georgia Tech, realizing that Mongol Hunter was just getting into their backline the entire time. JMac, how do you stop Mongol Hunter now? Do you have to ban out the Merlin? Do you have to ban out some of these characters that can get into the backline easier?
I don't think that banning Merlin is necessarily the call. He was able to do a ton of damage with that god in there. You can see 32,500, higher than, well, almost everybody in the game, only Unscathed matching his prowess onto it. But the adjustment here is not to figure out what god you need to ban. It's you need to be able to put these players under control. All game long, Arizona put Georgia Tech on the back foot. You have a Najah mid. Okay, Najah mid doesn't do anything. What are you going to possibly come out and do with this assassin that our Mage Kukulkan isn't going to do even better to start the game out? It's going to have better clear, better poke, and it's going to be able to do much more damage than this assassin could ever hope in the early game.
Well, folks, this is a best of 5 semifinal. We have possibly one more game, possibly 3 more games. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with you for game number 3, Georgia Tech, Arizona State, just a little bit. Welcome back, everybody. Game 3. Georgia Tech up 2-0 over Arizona State. J-Mac, that was a demoralizing defeat right there for Arizona State. So they were up the entire game, and then they just lose 2 team fights, and then Georgia Tech clear it out and just win the game. That's a huge momentum swing right there. What does Arizona State do now so that they can keep clinging on to this chance of going into the finals?
They've got to be able to brush that loss off the shoulders there. They've got to be able to recount their losses here and figure out, okay, what did we do wrong at the end of the late game? And for me, one of the big things was even though they had all of that push power, all the momentum, all those kills, and all the gold in their favor, they were just getting a little too overzealous. They were taking fights that weren't necessary is the big thing. Yes, when you're up that much gold, you can take fights, but you have to make sure that there's a goal to each of those fights. And when you just jump in so sporadically like they did in game 2, it's going to come back and bite you in the late game when everybody is up the full slot.
Well, ISIS made it through this time, folks. As we have stated in the past, we're not going to do picks and bans due to a time constraint. So the bans are up there on the top side of your screen. Freya been banned out, obviously, for this entire time, but made it through ISIS right there. ISIS very potent in this early game. Georgia Tech really looking for this early game on this King Arthur. When once Glad Shield comes up, he becomes unstoppable. And then a little bit of a swing. How Quam in the jungle?
Not something we see very often at all. Very few players, even at the top end of play, grab this god. I think Johnny is really the only really big noteworthy name at the time being who is playing this god, but not even playing it consistently. Vanit, once again, trying to go for an invade. Not going to have quite the lockdown that they did last time. They're going to go straight onto the buff. I don't think they recognize that he's here, but they clear it in time, so that way Vanit doesn't get that buff. And Weiss going to throw out a couple of friendly taunts like, you tried. But so fast is this Hercules.
He is so fast because he has, look at that, the tier 2 boots. As he's going to driving strike into tower, that's 2 shots down. Weiss Village will go ahead and blink. Vanit is looking a little bit out of position now as he's trying to run away. A couple of autos will make Vanit fall, but West Village is taking a little bit of poke right there for himself on these autos. Pots being used. Vanit's going to keep looking at it, but look at this. Mongol Hunter is going to be on the ISIS as well as Cupid in the middle lane, but West Village,
oh no,
one auto is going to make him fall, but look who's here. Shell Wet Village, and he's going to be like, no. Get out of here.
Under the tower, Weiss will go. Finally get away from Vanit, who's been sitting on this side of the map the entire time, harassing this jungler. Unable to deal with him. The Blink driving strike in, but West is going to get away unless Unscathed or CMT can get a nice dash under tower. And the follow-up from Arizona, Unscathed, grabbing first blood.
Unscathed on Thoth is going to be pretty disgusting. You know, he wasn't able to hit all of the Serpent of the Nine Winds, the Kukulkan ultimate that we saw in that last game, but Thoth is being able to just give that much range, and I think that's what they need, is Thoth to be able to be further in that back line, because Unscathed, when he was pushed up a little bit too hard, was getting poked out, and once he was poked out, game was over. Game, set, match. So getting this Thoth is a huge win for them. And Cupid mid. Talk to me about that a little bit. Is that just specifically to counter all of this dash ability that they have on Arizona, or is it something a little bit more along the lines of damage?
It's just West being West. He likes to play these really silly gods into the mid lane. We saw the Naja last time. This time we're seeing the Cupid out of it. Late game, he is going to have a good amount of power to his name. He's going to have that crippling field available with the Fields of Love. That's really going to do a good shutdown onto Flozart, onto CMT. Really, every one of these gods are going to suffer from the Fields of Love. So making sure to pick that god up to kind of counteract some of the initiation and counter-initiation from them, I like to pick up here.
Well, there's just going to be, the casual joust lane again, as Vanit's going to be coming up the mid lane right now. And looking for a pick onto West Village, but West Village will go ahead and throw the Heart Bomb, which will stun, and just kind of walk away. But, everything's looking a little bit just cut and dry right now, but the pluck just barely off the mark. You got to be completely full range on that in order for the pullback to happen, as West Village will go ahead and get pushed back in. Wet Village is now in a bit of a pickle. The Hieroglyphic Assault picking it up. Unscathed now 2-0. Both kills going for Arizona, and now Unscathed is the range from Thoth, just being able to poke West Village under tower. They're looking to try to see if he'll come out of range.
Good amount of damage out of Unscathed. Has those cooldown boots, opted to rush it as opposed to going for a blessing early on. make sure that he's going to get not only some cooldown, but get a little bit of extra power and some mana on his side. Thought's a very mana-intensive god in that early to mid-game. He's going to dash aggressively in. That Evade and Punish is just shy, despite the extra range from the Glyph of Pain.
Yeah, but CMT is still wanting to fight right there. Looked for made you look around the corner, but no one was around that corner, unfortunately. As they're just going to go ahead and go back, get the buffs, try to farm up a little bit more. And, that's what Arizona was able to do last game, was find these little victories in the early game to win. As a Spirit Ball will hit, but Mongo won't do anything about it because he just wants to go ahead and back and grab his probably cooldown or penetration boots right here. He's got enough there, but he's going to go and opt for the Pythags piece first.
That's very risky, not having movement speed up against a god like Mercury. It's going to prove to be very dangerous for them, as Weast Village combined with Wet Village able to pick up a kill onto the enemy support, catching him out in the mid lane.
That was great heads-up play by the Coneheads right there, making sure that they're able to do that efficiently. But I think Wet Village was the one that bestowed the kill to Weast Village on that Ao Kuang. I'm not 100% certain, but if that's the case, that's going to be huge for Wet Village, because that gets him his assist range a little bit bigger, and every time that assist range gets a little bit bigger, he's able to farm more efficiently. So be able to watch out for that, as King Arthur now has full Glad Shield, and Flozard is realizing that Zexy is going to be a little bit harder to kill.
Yeah, you see that Glad Shield is kind of the big defensive factor on the solo laners of who's going to win the early trade outs. With no boots available, they're not really hitting for much power, much damage. It's just a battle of sustain, and King Arthur has quite a few abilities to be able to deal with that. But if he takes a couple of tower shots, it's not going to be as easy for him. He's a dash on the Flozard, but the extra healing out of the Achilles, making sure he stays topped off and even with this Arthur.
Well, right there, Mongo was a little bit out of position, being chased by Vanit, who's only level 3. Wet Village is level 5, folks, so this is a different game right now from Vanit, being only a level difference down right now, as the Sunball will miss, but CMT is going to be able to pick up those oracles right there. Mongol is going to go ahead and be a little bit out of position. The beat's being used, the Dharma Pillar's being dropped, as well as the Isis ultimate, the Circle Protection being used for a little bit of that heal. Mongol Hunter being able to get away, but Unscathed winding up the ult, but not going to go ahead and throw it off just yet.
Trying to look for a good target, charging up those hieroglyphic shots. The Sonic Boom into the back of the big shell. Evade and Punish is only going to hit one, and CMT, we get the final burst, the final judgment, and another hieroglyphic assault from Unscathed will pick up 2 kills on the side of Arizona, making it 4-2 on the scoreboard.
Yeah, while that was happening, it looked like that Weast Village was able to pick up a kill on Vanit. Vanit now is going to be very far behind, but he's going to try to, keep going with it. Hercules at this point is going to try to be a harasser. So if you're Vanit, you're playing behind, you still want to be that harasser support that just kind of is there. What do you need to do in this case?
You just got to play patient. You got to be careful. With this Isis no boots, how is he going to escape from anything that this team has? Sure, he has the root immunity if he can time it with the Wind Gust, but that's a really tall task to ask out of this Isis early on, especially when you use it for primarily damage in the middle of team fights. Mongo Hunter making a very aggressive play with this Pythags piece. It hasn't worked out too well for him just yet.
Well, Cheese is going to be a little bit of a pickle right now, as the stun ball will go ahead and hit. Doesn't look like Weast Village wants to engage on that anymore now that he's under tower, so it looks like they recognize the aggression and just going to go ahead and back off, as Vanit now is level 5 and now is caught up to the Ganesha right there, because it's 2 kills, but Vanit has 2 assists, so the experience difference is now a little bit more even, a little bit more manageable. Not too much away from the supports, as Unscathed will go ahead and go back to farming in that mid lane, but Isis is now alone farming on that left-hand side. And you said you wanted to see a little bit of aggression on that, but as I say that, Wet Village is going to go ahead and get evaded, punished, dashed in. Unscathed is going to go ahead and do crazy amounts of damage. The final judgment onto Weast Village will go ahead and fall. Unscathed with the double kill right there in the mid lane.
Big damage out of Unscathed. Level 9 on that. The Sonic Boom coming out into the back to catch Mongo Hunter. He's going to have to use that Circle Protection. He's going to get one off of it. No mana on this Thoth. He's going to have to back away, and without the MP5 to sustain up, they're baiting Mongo Hunter. He's going to get impaled against the edge of the wall. And Unscathed with the basic will grab him.
Don't you just hate hitboxes, J-Mac? Because I know Mongol hates hitboxes right now. Because that wall and that pillar, perfect placement. You either get stunned in the wall or you get stunned in the pillar. There's not much in the middle, as King Arthur will go ahead and ult and not do too much when he comes down, because Flozart will go ahead and stun him with the shield, but Zexy is King Arthur with Glad Shield, and he can just heal up off this. As he's going to try to keep him there, but Vanit, as we look over at Vanit now, he's a little bit playing aggressive, and West Village will go ahead and get Flozart with the ultimate, the blink, and the driving strike. No, West Village is now in a little bit of a pickle as the blue buff does fall. Vanit being able to pick it up as Vanit gets a kill onto West Village. Now Zexi's in a little bit of a pickle. And CMT is going to go ahead and try to Made You Look, doing so much damage. The driving strike to get him in position. Vanit getting the unofficial double kill on Zexi.
And look what he has picked up in that second slot one more time on CMT. The Rage. Back online and already with 2 stacks at 9 minutes. We saw it stacked up fully at 13 minutes last game. So far sitting at 30% crit, which I'm pretty sure is what ends up bringing this one out. Final Judgment charged, but not going to go through from Unscathed. Looking for it. Not sure if he has the angle, and he does have it.
Unscathed, picking up the Final Judgment at max range right there, folks. Just shows you how crazy good he is. As Vanit now will go ahead and throw the boulder to make sure that he doesn't get mezzed out of that because of the CC that happens into the Cupid Fields of Love. Vanit doing some diving, dodging, dipping, diving, and weaving. Try to see if he can get someone out of position as he gets the West Village out of position with a shell from West Village right there, keeping him at 1 HP. He is right now looking to get a little bit of health. West Village now is now in a bigger pickle if the impeel comes out.
No.
But look at this, the pillar's going to keep him alive. The driving strike will not, though, finishing him off.
I'm glad somebody grabbed him, because if he got away from making such a greedy play there instead of just running back to base, he deserved to take a beating there. And now 11-4, read the scoreboard. Arizona State starting up this Gold Fury. They have Desert's Fury available from the On-Her. Cheese ready to pop that ultimate if necessary. And they're passing it back and forth. The Dark Pillars drop down. Arizona State will get the Gold Fury, and CMT is going to get wet.
Yeah, but Wet Village will go ahead and fall, but not without giving Cupid a little bit of love with that assist, as Cheese will go ahead and pick up, but Mongol with the Circle of Protection final pop able to get unscathed. That is a 3-for-2 Gold Fury to Arizona State. Arizona State look to be a little bit more ahead now because that's a 1,400, 2,400 gold lead right now.
Picking up a nice gold lead and most importantly, some more experience in their favor. Vanit was behind in the early stages of the game compared to Wet Village, who, instead of trying to worry about the speed, a good blink in from the Sao Kwong is going to make sure to go through and get the execute onto Flozart, who just got a little too low. That 30% threshold, just too powerful. And that's the one thing about these execute gods is you don't have to kill them with all your abilities, because as long as you got that ultimate ready, it's a nice, easy kill.
Absolutely. Flozart has an execute of himself, because that's typically the counter for King Arthur is get him low enough to be able to be in execute range. Can't really heal off of that. Kill it. That's the cut and dry butter of it. But Flozart is just learning that, you know, executes work both ways, and that's just going to be a little unfortunate as Georgia Tech is going to get the Pyromancer. Now this gold lead's looking a little bit less good for Arizona. It's only going to be 1,600. 1,400 now, excuse me.
12 minutes in, Arizona with a very slight lead, but they're going to need some more after this early kill disparity that they have here. 14-7 in their favor, but it just doesn't feel like it's been necessarily their game. The Fields of Love come out onto Vanit, but he's going to run himself right on out of there. Evade and Punish comes out onto Wet Village, gets some good damage, but Unscathed unable to get the follow-up. And now looking for a possible red buff, but it's already down. Maybe look to the purple buff for the Isis, but unable to find a home with either of them.
As the final judgment will be wound up as Unscathed gets Wet Village in the back. West Village is just standing there staring at a support going, where'd you go, buddy? As the Blink Pluck will come out, the Evade Punish just being off the mark as well. As CMT now is in a little bit of a problem space right here, as a Driving Strike will go ahead and connect, but Vanit will pick him up with the Boulder. Mongol Hunter now looking around with West Village as Unscathed is walking around with Vanit and Cheese. It's a 3v2 right now in the mid. Mongol Hunter throwing out a Spirit Ball is going to go ahead and pick up Unscathed. Unscathed is going to go ahead and get hit with the Heart Bomb. No stun coming out, unfortunately, because Cupid passive was not wound up. So this will be just a complete disengage from Arizona, realizing they can't get that tier 1 tower, as they did get a tier 1 tower in the left-hand side a couple minutes ago.
It's going to be really rough for them to really siege anything at the moment. They do have the Isis ultimate to confirm objectives, but tower-wise, they're going to be lacking a bit. Cupid is not known for his tower push. Gets a little bit passively, through his dash, and Zexy taking quite a lot of damage. Not going to be able to juke out that execute. Flozart with the quick 180 is going to grab his opposing solo laner, put his 17th kill on the board for Arizona.
That's exactly what you have to do against King Arthur, folks. Just gang up on him, and he can't 4v1 anymore unless he's really far ahead, and in that case, he was dead even with Flozart. So that was a good pickup right there for Arizona, as the dash is going to come on to West Village. Going to be dashed the opposite way of what Unscathed thought, so a little bit of a miscommunication. So West Village will be able to get out with a little damage done to him. But no, Unscathed will go ahead and hard push this wave into the tower, because you can't really kill her too much as Cupid right now. But he is going to go ahead and try his best to make sure the tower doesn't get as much damage done, as the Oracles will be looked at for a CMT, and possibly rotation from Mongol Hunter and Wet Village.
They got to find a way into the back line. This Ao Kuang hasn't been able to harass any of the carries necessarily. They've been dealing too much with the tanks who are in their back line. Mongol Hunter hasn't been able to make a sneaky play just yet. Spirit Ball just a little bit off the mark. But with Georgia Tech so zoned out of these team fights, they're zoning themselves almost and getting hit by all this damage out of Unscathed. There's just nothing they can do to sustain it up yet.
Well, Mongol Hunter's playing a little bit scared too, or he's trying to play a little bit like he played last time with that Dynasty Plate Helm being picked up in that third item slot, trying to get a little bit more penetration and not take as much damage from Vanit or on her. Trying his best, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult for that, because Isis doesn't really have a whole lot of CC immune, but the big ultimate from King Arthur missing, as Vanit, take a look now, is going to be winding up for this fight in the mid lane. It's a 3-on-1 right now. Flozart is a little out of position, trying to get the execute. The execute coming out from West Village, as West Village will pick it up. Fields of Love are going to go ahead and be dropped, as well as the Heart Bomb, but a big ultimate from CNT, and the final judgment just being off the mark right now. CNT is in the back, as he's going to dash onto West Village, but West Village is taking a lot of damage, but he's getting it right back to Vanit, as West Village will go ahead and get CMT. Pillar's going to be thrown, as the Spirit Ball just off the mark.
And that's the kind of sneaky play that they needed. Desert's Fury not going to find Mongol. But going with the blink play, the Arthur not going to find him, but he's going to get it with the double stun coming out of the carry and the solo lane. Poked him and then hit him with the Spirit Ball. West Village taking a little bit of poke here, and Unscathed gotta find West Village a little too low in health, a little overzealous here in this mid lane. They can't get this tier 1 tower. They just don't have the damage for it yet.
They don't have the damage, but they do now have the minions, as King Arthur just recognized that, but he's going to get evaded punished, and he's going to Hieroglyphic Assault 1, 2, 3 as he falls, as well as the tower.
You know, honestly, not that bad of a trade out. This King Arthur is only a tad bit ahead, and getting that tier 1 is going to relieve some pressure on the map. They still have their own tier 1 tower on the side of Georgia Tech. It's only 16 minutes. With how much fighting and how many fights it really feels like Arizona's won, they're actually down right now, trying to go for this Oni, sneaking around the back. This is how Kwong's got a lot of damage online. Look at how much he's just done to the Snow, but he's not going to have enough to go through. The execute in return comes out of Flozart.
As the fight will still continue, the Ohm coming out in West Village, but Mongol Hunter's being pressured by Vanit being out of this fight, so Wet Village is now completely alone. Dharma Pillar's being used to try to do something, but the Pillar actually doing a lot of damage, as the Heart Bomb Fields of Love combo picking up CMT, as the Oni Fury is still picked up right now. Unscathed is being a little bit cheeky, trying to throw possibly an ultimate to see if he can get someone out, as he hits West Village for 815. The evade of punish to get West Village is punishing now, as Mongol Hunter is now out of position. The Aegis coming out, everybody stops, with the Boulder doing a little bit of damage as Cheese picks up Mongol Hunter, and now the Oni Fury is being pulled. Frenzy is popped, but look who's here. Zexy Zealot.
Gonna get the driving strike into the back from Vanit. The Oni Fury has not fallen yet. Arizona will grab it, but now Zexy's here in the 4v1. Everybody is on full retreat. A good stun out of Flozart will make sure the King Arthur has to take a step back. A great call from Arizona. A little risky for them, but they managed to pull it out. Grab themselves the Gold Fury and put the gold finally back in their favor.
And that's what they needed to do. They've been playing, they haven't been farming efficiently as like Georgia Tech has, or Arizona's been playing a completely different game, right? They've been trying to go for the kills, not necessarily the objectives, even though they did get a tower on the left-hand side, but look at the tower difference between Georgia Tech and Arizona. That's where that's coming from, is Georgia Tech's going to pick a Pyromancer, and that lead's going to drop back down to Georgia Tech's favor.
6 and 5 on the Ao Kuang. A fully stacked Rage for the Mercury, but he's only gotten 2 kills for himself. Most of those coming from the assist. So far, only level 14 compared to the 16. He's not having the blowout game that he had last time around, setting up unscathed for a ton of kills. I mean, he has 12 kills onto the mid laner. No scoffing that. But they just haven't had the same level of impact. It looks like a little bit of a DC there. I'm not sure exactly what that was.
It looked like a little bit of a lag, but CMT recognizing it didn't react. But Vinit was like, nah, this is semifinals. We don't just chicken out on semifinals. If you're going to DC right now, that's not how that works, as Zexy will fall to CMT. A little bit of sportsmanship there from CMT to try to see what was going on, but a second that he saw that he was okay, Vinit just said, nah, we're going to go ahead and kill him. Does look like there's possibly going to be a Fire Giant dance starting right now, as West Village is here. CMT is going to start this along with the Flozart, but Flozart is going to peel off, but CMT taking a lot of damage right now. He has to retreat right this second.
Gotta go back. Flozart hit with the Heart Bomb, but it's not gonna stun. Into the back goes the Final Judgment. It's gonna get West, but the Execute out of West Village is gonna grab the solo laner. Now it's a 4v4, but with Zexy coming right back up, he can teleport in and turn this into a 4v5 power play.
As West Village will get evaded punnel, the beads have to come out, but the Spirit Ball hitting too! Cheese has the beads and Aegis. The Wing Gust doing so much damage, but the Heart Bomb doing more. Cheese will fall, as Vinit now is in a little bit of a pickle. The Spirit Ball is going to go ahead and be used. Wing Gust as well. Vinit is one shot right now. The Invaded Punish will keep that down, but Mongol Hunter picking up with the Circle of Protections. Now only 2 defending this tier 2 right now, unscathed, being able to hit a lot of these Final Judgments and Hieroglyphic Assaults. This could be a good defense right now if they play this right. Unscathed going to try to get some damage off, but the speed buff will go ahead and drop. Georgia Tech going to go ahead and steal that away from them, and now they might look for the Fire Giant themselves.
A little bit risky, though. Unscathed doesn't have his ultimate. It's heading over to the left-hand side. Not sure if they have any wards to spot this out, but they're not going to go for the fire. They're just going to back off, make sure they can get some ward coverage in their favor. And a big turnaround fight brings Georgia Tech right back in this. In fact, again, bouncing that lead now in their favor, about 1,300 gold for themselves. It's just a back-and-forth game in these last few engagements.
Seems like 2 heavyweight boxers going at it right now, doesn't it, J-Mac? Just one team gets good team fight, takes the gold lead Arizona, but the other team is just getting those jabs in, making sure they get those points, kind of like what Floyd Mayweather does. They're wanting to win technically rather than go for the knockout punches. Arizona wants to go for that knockout punch, get a big team fight, and win the game. So right now, if you're Georgia Tech, you're playing this a little bit more technical. You're trying to get the objectives more than you are going for the kills. Do you keep on that path? Because that's the path that's gotten you this 1,200, 1,600 gold lead.
The problem is at this stage of the game, players are starting to get 4 or 5 items online. And it's going to be very hard to fight into a Ganesh. Now has that Pride when available. It drops the pillars. If he dashes onto you, that shield explosion from the item will do quite a bit of damage back. And he's just so tanky. Having that Relic Dagger as well gives him an extra 30 seconds off of his Relic cooldowns. And he's going to have more frenzies and more shells than his opposition, who actually opted for a Blink and a Cursed Onk.
Cursed Onk's a little bit interesting, J-Mac. I know that it does, gets rid of the healing aspect of things, and you definitely want that against Mongol when he drops that Circle of Protections, being able to do so much healing. But when it's upgraded, I think that's kind of what they're trying to go for. They're trying to look for an early upgraded Cursed Onk, because that does kind of what Horrific Emblem does a little bit. Just make sure that they do less damage. As Vinit's going to go ahead and try to dive this tier 1, looking for the pluck, but Vinit's going to go ahead and get plucked himself. The Field of Love coming out, the Driving Strike, there's the Cursed Dog, but it doesn't matter, as West Village is going to go ahead and pick him up in the sky. He's going to go ahead and go down onto Flozart, but the jump from Cheese will make sure that he doesn't get any damage dealt to him, as now they're looking for this Fire Giant pull.
You can't just dash at 4 players at a mid-tier 1 tower. Even if you are a late-game Hercules, you got to be careful, and you got to pick your battles. Blink in from Weiss as he's trying to find somebody into the back. He's going to sneak right by them with a little bit of a Tom Clancy play, trying to aim for Unscathed. He's going to fire off a little bit of damage, and Sexy will find the last hit on a Flozart. Now the 2 tanks are down. It's only the carries left. Spirit Ball onto Cheese. He's going to force out the Aegis and the beads, and Sexy will pick up the double.
As right now, the Final Judgment doing crazy amounts of damage. The beats being perfect, but the Evade and Punish not. As a big Mercury ultimate coming in, as CMT will go ahead and get 1, but will fall along with his partner Unscathed. This is going to be a tier 2 tower possibly, or they might just look to go ahead and go for the Fire Giant, but Zexy's a little bit weak, so he will look like he has to back. But look who's here. Zealot's here. Good old Vinit's gonna be here.
He's got the option to go back by the upgraded teleport, and he will. He'll come right back to the Fire Giant pit. Vanitas made his way through. Fire Giant's at half. Gets a double pluck, but no driving strike to follow off. Vanita keeps walking back into the Fire Giant pit, dropped into so many lava pools, throws out the boulder, but it's so preemptive. The Fire Giant got leashed, and only at half health, Fire Giant gonna go the way of Georgia Tech.
And that's what Georgia Tech needed to do right there. They got the big team fight win because of the technical way they've been playing. They've been really focused on this farm. So now that gold lead that Arizona State had in the early game is now 7K, well, at this point, 5K difference now for Georgia Tech, even though they're down in kills. So that's what's going to be a little bit interesting now is how does Arizona, they're playing on the back foot, even though the scoreboard shows something completely different.
It's just all the early kills they were to get, but no capitalizing off of it, not surmounting a major lead. And that has been the big problem of Arizona is when they don't get their lead, there's just no coming back for them. When they do get their lead, we saw in game 2, it can go well, but it just didn't do anything for them. They were taking really bad fights. They were losing too many players in the middle team fights, leaving gods unchecked. And you can't be doing that at 25 minutes in the game. If you leave even one carry out of line without a relic, they're dead to rights. This Ao Kuang, this Cupid, or even this Isis.
You want to talk about someone that's a little bit behind. Take a look at Cheese right now. Not even fully stacked on his Devourer gauntlets. As Georgia Tech will go ahead and grab a Gold Fury, making this a much harder game for Arizona. When you don't have an upgraded Devourer's gauntlets, you can't really stay alive in these team fights because the lifesteal isn't fully there. He still needs around 7-8 stacks.
And that's just because of all the fighting that Arizona has tried to do this entire game. Sure, he picked that item up second, but how many times have we seen him over in the left lane farming or over in the mid lane getting waves? He's always been fighting over the course of the last, I'd say, probably 15 minutes. Then he's going to go in, not going to grab anybody with that pluck.
As you were saying, people fighting, talk about Vanit fighting right now, as he's going to go ahead and blink. Missed the pluck right there, as Flozart will go ahead and get stunned out. Mongol's a little bit of a bad position, as look at that! The amount of damage from the Field of Love going to do that, as West Village going to go ahead and pick up 2 right now. Beyblade's going to happen, Flozart being able to stun, but doesn't matter, as West Village will pick up an unofficial triple kill. Can keep going as Zexy is going to keep diving this.
Mid lane Phoenix all the while, taken by the Ao Kuang, who wasn't even needed in that fight. CMT's here. Weiss is trying to bait something for it. He's going to get that major look. CMT's a little fast, but it's going to miss the dash. Now going straight onto him is the Ao Kuang. The boxing fight is going the way of the Mercury thanks to the help of Vanit, but he's going to get him with the Dragon Call. Weiss Village with another kill.
And this is looking really bad right now. Vanit's going to try to stall this out as much as possible. The ultimate just to keep him stunned out. The driving strike to try to get Vanit out of position. Just try to get out of himself in this fight, but these autos are doing so much as West Village will pick up the deicide. Huge play for Arizona, and now they're looking to end right now. Elnhurst coming up in 2 seconds, and now they've got caught the frenzy. The Dharmic Pillars are falling. Cheese is trying to do anything possible, but he just gets deleted by West Village and the Heart Bomb.
The Dharmic Pillars are no longer available. Titan at a quarter health. Weiss trying to get something, but Unscathed is going to trade him out. Still 2, fairly tanky to try and fight this Titan, and they're going to be able to grab this one through. Georgia Tech with a clean 3-0 victory over Arizona State, and they will be your second grand finalist here in the AVGL Collegiate Smite Championships.
J-Mac, momentum.
Fuzzy.
We talked about this right beforehand. Why was the momentum so much more into Georgia Tech's side rather than Arizona when they played such a clean game in game 2? It just seemed like that their mentality didn't really work out for them, because in game 3, even though they were trying to get kills, they just weren't playing the game objectively. They were playing the game for the kills.
Georgia Tech recognized that even though, yes, they've got 27 kills in 19 minutes. Yes, they've got 35 kills at 25 minutes and whatnot. They're getting all these kills, but they're just not getting anything off of the back of them. Not getting objectives. They're not getting enough towers. They're just getting kills, playing arena. And when you get kills in arena, that's one thing. That's 5 tickets off their 500 counter guaranteed. That's all you need. But in a mode like Conquest, getting 5 kills, you got to get something else after that, because you don't get free tickets to start tallying off of your opposition.
Yeah, you got to unfortunately grab those pesky towers and Phoenixes, Gold Furies and Fire Giants, Pyromancers, and the Titan, obviously, to win the game, as Georgia Tech showed us how to play Conquest Smite right there. Well, folks, it's an all-Georgia final. Georgia Tech versus Georgia State in the final for the AVGL. J-Mac, want to give us a little teaser of what we might expect between these two teams? We saw Georgia Tech with a clean 3-0, and last week we saw Georgia State with a 3-1. So we're going into the finals next week, and what do you want from each team to come out?
Destruction. I mean, being realistic here, when it came to looking at the playoff bracket, I made my predictions. I threw my curse up on Twitter. I said, hey, time to curse myself. Here's the bracket. It's gone. The bracket has been evaporated. It doesn't exist anymore because these teams have been coming out lights out, dominating the competition, coming through and playing so powerfully. Stuff that we haven't seen from them all season. They brought out all the stops in these semifinals, but they still got one more round to go. The grand finals, best of 5, played next week. Next Sunday, we'll be back for that grand finals matchup, and we'll see who is the real hometown hero, Georgia State or Georgia Tech.
Folks, it's going to be absolute bedlam here next week on AVGL Smite. We look forward to seeing you there. Keep everything on your calendars. J-Mac and Fuzzy signing off for tonight. Take it away.